Like a must-win for all teams involved today, so you hope you can bring out your best when your best is needed.
Yeah, if there's one commonality we had in talking with the coaches throughout the course of the week, it was that the importance to win on this first day, get a day off and get a day of rest for your pitching staff. Here's the
season long, that strikeout to walk ratio, top 10 in the NCAA, and that's what you have to know if you're Wichita State. A team that walks really well all throughout this season, just have to be prepared for a lot of strikes early and counts.
It's 1-1, zips in tight. That's ball 2. Last time out for Gillespie against Tulane, went 4 innings in shutout fashion, struck out 6 of the 17.
And is just try to keep that pitch count low and try to get those leadoff guys out.
First into the aforementioned Crowder College transfer, Josh Livingston is a strike. Was an all-tournament team in Clearwater, 35-20. There's a 1-0. And Rivera will take here.
Johnson over at third, already cheating in. Just prepared for any bunt or weak contact on that side.
For this year. He's knocked out 10, knocked in 39. For the Powell, Tennessee native. Played only 11 games at Vanderbilt, redshirted the year prior to that. The 1-0. High fly ball into right center. Duncan is over in the gap. And it's got some carry at the warning track, but he'll bring it in.
Season long.
26 portal players on this roster for Charlotte. 1-2. Cuts on it. That's strike 3. And it's the first of the day for Adler. 2 down.
Oh, just picture perfect sequencing. And look at this, and that
guy that always has played with his heart on his sleeve, but the difference is this year the team doesn't necessarily ride that emotional roller coaster with him. He was such an emotional leader last year, but it's not quite the same with the team composition this year. That's in for a strike. Baines behind 1-2.
And that's the best part of, you don't necessarily have to live and die with that guy that you can. You expect him to be tough to beat and just right there. Again, where you see it leave his hand and where it might end up.
Just that much around for Dylan. Brings in Jaden Gustafson.
And that's what's hard when you fall behind so quickly. Then you have to take a few more risks and try to fight off a few pitches because you know the majority of the time you are going to see strike.
Has been red hot in his last 5 or 10 games. On 0-2 again. Outside, that's ball 1. Coach has told us his power is improved. Out on strikes. Gillespie goes back-to-back.
I really wanted to keep it over that outer half of the plate against Gustafson. And just brilliant command. Again, that's another one where you think, okay, that might sit right there in that top corner of the strike zone regional in 2023. Nolan is going to be a guy that I want to see from Blake Martin, the DH. That's what I track a lot in these tournament games, Ryan, as we move into regionals next week, is that separator. Yeah, you want your best players to bring their A game, but that 6 through 9, 7 through 9 spot in the lineup is really what determines games, because it's how can.
15 this year. Ground ball, that escapes through into right field. Wave at third for Martin. The throw back in is cut off. Charlotte tags on a third in the second.
Another one that's just way too up in the zone. Thought there was a great chance for a diving catch by Durnan, and it just sneaks off his glove. I didn't even know if the run was going to have a chance to be scored, but Charlotte continues to put pressure on Wichita State in these early innings. They want them to make that play and get a runner out, and there just hasn't even really been a chance for them to try to get somebody out at home. And maybe we'll see some bullpen action in that previous at-bat against this guy.
Wipes through it, and that is indeed strike 3. So the second strikeout today for Marinac puts a critical second out on the board for Wichita State, because this could balloon way out of hand if they're not careful.
Yeah, you just want damage control right now with 3 runs already in the inning. Better command there. Obviously, Grant Adler is starting this Tuesday game for a reason.
Here you possibly could.
I think anybody who's ever been in that group before, you're like, I can get anything when the baseball looks like a beach ball to you.
On 1-2. And he cuts through it here, so Adler, a big pair of outs on his third strikeout. He retires to the side, but 3 more for Charlotte. They've actually trailed going into the home third 5-1. Put up some real crooked spot with 11 runs in the third, 16 in the fifth. This lineup can mash when they are feeling it. In their last 10 games, north of 300 average. Just unreal stuff. 4 times.
That's a tough one. Feels like, okay, that's not an easy play to make, right? But it feels like one of those necessary plays you have to make throughout this week.
Second single of the day for Spencer Nolan gives way to Noah Furch, who grounded out in his last trip. As Adler trying to keep the damage limited, keep this in relative striking distance.
I feel like if you get another runner on here, if you're Charlotte with 1 out, that might be it for Adler. They've been in the danger zone and treading water.
It's in the dirt as the runner takes 7th hit for Charlotte. Second of this inning has put 2 on base for Blake Martin, who walked back in the second. That's out of the zone on the first. Bends inward, both runners will go, and there's no throw for Mian. 2 in scoring position for Charlotte.
That's just been the problem. One mistake can be magnified in a hurry. Double play ball gone. Infield is going to all pinch in and just try to keep this in the infield and try and limit the damage. Consecutive inning.
Back into the netting again, 1-2. And you just get the sense here, if you're Adler, just find somehow, some way to at least get that second out of this inning, because that top of the Charlotte order is looming.
He's been quality for so much throughout May. That's what you're seeing today too. It's that almost, you're just that one little piece away, whether it's been a liner that wasn't caught in the infield or that one pitch that got away. The margin's been pretty small.
Estes took a turn at it. Mian does enough to keep it in front of him so nobody can come in. Fourth ever 49er to win a conference. And it's paid off with one of the best ERAs you'll find. They lead the American in that mark.
That really is true, Ryan. That's, yes, offense provides a lot of flash. It can sell tickets. It can win you a lot of ball games. But the teams we see make regionals and advance to Omaha, it really comes down to what does your staff look like and how can you give just so many different
approach for every single pitch.
On a 1-1. Line drive into shallow center, and that'll find green grass for a base hit. So it's the first today for Wichita State. A strikeout sandwiched between the 2 runners on board for the Shockers. But back to Savannah's point, it's really interesting to hear about how Coach Woodard has developed pitchers, how he's approached the game, and he's going to speak on the ABCA convention on this very topic.
Yeah, what's really cool is how we've seen that apply.
Game hit streak came to an end this past weekend. 1-2. And that's strike 3. Another to the ledger for Gillespie, his second of the fourth.
Like all of the Wichita State lineup is on its heels right now. Dylan, who was really praised by his head coach Brian Green and being one of the best hitters all season, had been on a great run and was hoping he could have an impact.
And 2. Has faced some more pushback in this 4th inning for this group. Not an easy situation, though, for Wichita. Quarter swing. Asking for the appeal. They go to first, and they'll say he went around. Another strikeout.
Well, Robert Woodard, head coach.
And Furch has got it. That will retire the side. The defense still stellar for Charlotte. It's their 4th inning facing the minimum.
over these last couple of years. Charlotte just a little bit different. This can be a big jump up for some teams, but not them.
High fly ball into right center. Duncan over, and he'll make the catch. Bain bluffs off of first. There's one out in the inning, one on. Savannah.
Well, you both have mentioned it, how Coach Woodard's talked about how this team reminds him of that 2023 vibe. And there's something that he looks for in his guys when they fit that type. It's that they're
Walk, but we'll see another mound visit here, maybe a potential change for the Shockers.
Yeah, starting to run into some trouble. Arnett has been stellar since the third. You wonder at what point do you maybe look at going a different direction just from a staff management perspective. I think for Anthony Claggett right now, this is just a check-in. Have some arms getting worn. There's Drew Brasco, all 6'4", winning an inning and a third last time against Earl Roberts. Didn't walk anybody, gave up a couple of runs, did strike out two. And the first inning is a ball at the shins, 1-0.
For Estes, Rivera on deck. Just the 6th time this year. Each of them have had a multi-hit game. Just continues to go that next layer in what Charlotte has done at the plate. Estes, you know, they say pressure makes diamonds. Great to see Johnson collect himself and stay in the game. And for Wichita State, just try to build any momentum you can into a potential game tomorrow. Just 2 hits, a few base runners. Not going to be easy now as Rivera steps in.
Rivera, a single, a double, an RBI, and a walk.
Make its way to the championship and win it a few years ago. Of course, moved on to a super regional in that year. And of course, Tulane back-to-back seasons that it has come in here and rip through the rest of the conference. It's been fun to watch when we've been in Clearwater.
So Zeb Henry here, facing 2-1. Line shot, that's fair up the right field line, rolls all the way into the corner. This will be extra bases for East Carolina team that has had to deal with those expectations this year. Logan Poteet will get some extra words of wisdom. Big thing too is we don't think about that stuff sometimes. We think about stuff that's between the lines, but just the wear and tear, Sean, of being in the shade, being a little bit cooler versus maybe having to throw a towel over your head, battling the sun in your face all day. You get that experience just going to a ballpark, let alone when you have to go out and perform.
Well, Ryan, it's not the heat, it's the humidity.
Carson Richard, a righty team, 5 for 8 in the leadoff spot today. That's such a recipe for success.
Yeah, we take a look at some of those small things. It's what I love in baseball is you get a run around third with less than 2 outs. How often are you getting that run across? Coaches say they want 75, 80%. That's what good baseball teams do. When you get your leadoff on, what are the ways that you can get those runs across? And again, just get starters out of games, or just those little things that can define a week or a season.
Home state team in Wichita State got the start against Florida Atlantic in the tournament last year, and so now this is a different look. 27th appearance this year for him. He's got a great aptitude for throwing strikes.
Yeah, that's what you want to see when you get into postseason play. How can you carry the success from the regular season into a conference tournament or NCAA tournament? For Carson, got a lot to work with. It's just that, again, that extra little piece of knowing what's on the line, what kind of game you're in, hoping that one game at a time. We know Wichita State, Brian Green got all the way to the final last year, but it'll take a big effort to try and get back there this weekend.
The 10th straight win for the Charlotte 49ers, and a lot of it thanks to that star arm in the American Conference. Blake Gillespie, he was outstanding. Charlotte, 7 runs on 12 hits. Just an unbelievable performance on